Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am not here again with Geeky Sparkles. I'm sorry. She's sitting out today's videos. But we're going to talk about video games. We're going to talk about Square-Enix, and it looks like they want to make money. Looks like Square-Enix is interested in making money again. And man, they are just pulling out all the stops, aren't they? We're going to talk about Square-Enix and their, I believe, their attempt to pivot back to profitability. Square-Enix has lost its way in the last couple of years. They've been chasing Western-style AAA games, and it's come at a great cost to them. Definitely, both for their reputation and for their bottom line. Square has been bleeding out money. They've been selling off divisions. They sold off, Crystal Dynamics, I think, with Tomb Raider and Marvel. That cost them a ton of money. And again, they've been kind of doubling down on chasing Western-style AAA games. And about a month or two ago, they made the announcement that no more. We're not going to be Sony exclusive anymore. We're going to go back to making, I believe they said something about making cheaper games. But we're going to talk about this because it looks like they really are serious about pivoting to profit. They're going to release the Kingdom Hearts series on Steam. Finally, this is something that people have wanted for a very long time. And I think they've just gotten tired of losing money. This is a company that used to crank out a ton of JRPGs every year, and most of them were very good. You know, I remember, for me, I think the peak time to be a gamer was probably the late 90s into the early 2000s, because we still had arcades. And everything was exciting and new. We had, PlayStation 1 and N64, and the PS2 was around the corner. But Square was making a ton of amazing games. So many good RPGs. And they would put out, 5, 6, 7 titles a year. Most of them were of decent quality. And then once they Icarus themselves, and they did this before. They did it with the Final Fantasy movie. And this is what led to them merging with Enix. As I recall, they Icarus themselves. They got too close to the sun. They went all in on this movie that bombed at the box office. And then they had to merge with Enix to survive. And then, it's been kind of them limping along ever since. Yeah, they've had Kingdom Hearts, and they've had a few hits here and there, but it's been, a Final Fantasy title like every 5 or 6 years. And they just get further and further apart, and they keep going back and trying to strip mine their legacy IP. The Gooch is out of the picture. We're going to talk about that. The Gooch being the guy who created Final Fantasy and, definitely directed that series and the entire company for a good number of years during, I believe, their best period. Well, he's coming back again. Well, technically not. They're going to publish the Gooch's game Fantasian, which is kind of a throwback to Final Fantasy games. And I think this is a good first step. I would love to see him come back in a more official capacity. And he said he was done making games. I don't think he's done making games. I get a feeling he's not done making games, but they need to go back to what they were. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, and I'm into it pretty far now, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, go out to Clownfish Gaming. We have a gaming channel too. Trying to get that one up to 100,000. But we do gaming news, gameplay videos. The kids actually play games over there too. That's kind of how we started. And that's still the core of the channel, but I do news every once in a while. Over there, we talk about gaming news, maybe that doesn't fit with the main channel. Just kind of general news, reacting to trailers. We do some gameplay videos and stuff. So check that out. That's Clownfish Gaming. So yeah, let's talk about this because we have covered that Square has seemingly lost their way. They've listened to, I believe, Western DEI-motivated people, and they laid a bunch of people off, and a lot of them were these Western developers. And they're no longer going to be exclusive to Sony, to PlayStation, and now they're announcing that they're going to bring the Gooch back. This was today. This was announced today. We're delighted to announce we're once again working with the founding father of Final Fantasy, Hironobu Sakaguchi. I think that's how you pronounce his name, the Gooch. Together with his studio Mistwalker Corporation, we're launching Fantasian Neo Dimension this winter. If they were smart, if Square were smart, they would make more games like this. They don't have to be AAA titles. They just have to be solid RPGs. And bringing the Gooch back is a good move. But I mean, all of this has happened within the last 2 months. Western developers getting fired. We're going to release our content on every platform that we can. And we're going to bring back a guy who is synonymous with Final Fantasy, which is our most successful franchise. And it is a franchise that has completely lost his way, I believe, since he left the company. Right? So this is a Fantasian Neo Dimension. Now, I guess this game came out for iOS a few years ago. And I remember hearing about it, but I didn't actually download it. But it looks like a return to classic Final Fantasy. I'm going to react there's Vincent. I'm going to react to the trailer here. We're going to take a look at it, and then we'll talk more about the game and how I think this is how all of this ends. I think this is how all of this nonsense that we've seen with pop culture and video games and comic books and animation and movies, this is how it ends. Basically, the money has to run out. When the money runs out, these companies will pivot to profit to survive. And if that means tossing over employees that don't work out or changing their business model to pivot back to what consumers actually want, which is a no-brainer, right? I mean, that is historically, that is what companies have done for decades, centuries. They pivoted to profit. They give the consumers what they want, or they try to guess what consumers are going to want. In the last couple of years, though, for some reason, these companies have gotten it in their heads that they're going to push consumers in a certain direction. You're going to like our product because you're not going to have a choice. This is the way that everybody's doing things now, and you're going to have to buy said product. And that is it. And if you complain about it, well, then we're going to use our friends in the media to call you a Nazi or call you a homophobe or a racist, or, you know what I'm saying? Such nonsense. This attack on consumers is nonsense. And what's going on is that people are just withholding their money. They're like, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to go back and play old games. Screw you. I'm going to go back and read old comic books. I don't need to buy anything. Even the people that aren't complaining, that aren't vocally complaining about this shitty socialist marketing campaign or whatever the hell it is, right? I mean, this is a very recent marketing technique that these companies basically shame you into accepting or liking their products. I've never seen anything like it. It used to be customer service first. It used to be, what does the consumer want? What are the needs? And I'm going to create a product to fill the need. Now it's like, no, you need this. Because I like this, so you have to like it. And if you don't like it, then you're a bigot and a homophobe and a misogynist and whatever. But, Square played that game for a while. They did. And I think on the Western side, they were kind of playing it, especially with Crystal Dynamics and with the Marvel game. I know a lot of people were like, the bigots are mad because the game has Ms. Marvel in it. It's like, no, people are mad because they're not even mad. They're just apathetic. They're just really apathetic, but they lost a lot of money. I think they learned a very painful lesson. I think more companies are going to learn very painful lessons. Disney released Inside Out 2 this weekend and actually did pretty good. And it was a kind of return to form for Pixar. And I think they had to do that because they lost so much money on these other movies that they have no choice. If Disney's going to survive, they're going to have to get with the program and start giving consumers what they want again. And it doesn't matter if it flies in the face of what the people at the company want or what the interns want or what the marketing people, whatever. What does the consumer want? And the consumer for Square products want games that feel like 90s, 2000s RPGs, JRPGs. This is what they expect from Square. Just do more of this. Square, that's all you got to do. Just do more of this and you'll be fine. You don't need to spend $300 million on a remake or a licensed game or something. I mean, finish Final Fantasy VII, please. I mean, you have to. You already started it. But breaking it up into like 4 games or whatever they're doing and stretching that out for like 10 or 15 years, I don't think that's very smart. I mean, most people who have very fond memories of Final Fantasy VII are older now and they've moved on. So I think you're trying to appeal to a younger generation, and I don't think they care. They don't have the emotional attachment to Final Fantasy VII. I don't have the emotional attachment to Final Fantasy VII. And that was like a game that dropped during my peak gaming years, and I actually preferred 8 and 9 to 7. I know I'm not allowed to say that. And I like 12 the best. But we're going to loot this trailer. Let's loot this trailer, and then we're going to go out to this Kotaku, oh my God, Kotaku article.
I really don't know. All I can remember is my own name. I'll find some way to get my memories back on my own if I have to.
Destiny. My name means...
Umatsu music?
You've got a lot of nerve. Very well then. I'll tell you exactly what you've done.
It sounds like Final Fantasy. It looks like a PS1 Final Fantasy game. I think the character designs are a little on the bland side, but I think it's, to me, that this appeals to me more than the last couple of proper Final Fantasy games.
You haven't a clue what purpose the Macteria serve. Ignorance is the greatest sin.
Damn the Malevolent. Whatever he's doing, we've got to stop him.
Looks like Final Fantasy VI. Is that what he's going for? That's what this looks like. It looks like these characters are kind of one-offs from Final Fantasy VI characters.
You two are robots that possess hearts as well. Where are we? What's going on?
It's like we got Locke and Terra.
You've arrived at an excellent time.
It's so strange. I can still feel that light on my body.
We haven't given in to despair. And we
got whales, and we got airships. That's very Final Fantasy.
won't, as long as there's still any hope of helping our friends. I'll save you, whatever it takes. There's still a chance.
Now, let us determine the fates of this world together.
All right, I think that looks pretty cool. Again, it's not a AAA title, but it does feel like something that Square would have released, 15, 20 years ago. So this is the Kotaku article. Fantasian is finally coming to Switch, a platform you'll actually play it on. Now you have no excuse not to play the great RPG from the Final Fantasy creator. I actually forgot it came out. I'm going to be honest. The creator and composer of Final Fantasy teamed up in 2021 to release a gorgeous retro-inspired RPG called Fantasian. It was only on Apple Arcade and was quickly forgotten. Now it's coming to the Switch, as announced during the Nintendo Direct. You shouldn't miss it a second time. This actually, here's some is Final Fantasy VII. I was going to say, damn, that looks like Cloud. So it says it's actually a fantastic RPG that blends modern and old school sensibilities. That shouldn't be too surprising, given Mistwalker's team. Sakaguchi produced and wrote the game, etc., etc. They talk about Lost Odyssey, So yeah, it looks like it's coming out this fall. I think this is a good sign. I think it's a good sign. This coupled with them no longer being PlayStation exclusive, this coupled with them laying off a lot of Western developers and saying that they're not really going to go all in on these ridiculously expensive AAA titles. I know somebody that used to work for the company said that how they determine whether or not a game was worth making is, would they have made more money putting that sum into the stock market? So if a game costs $200-300 million, would they have made more money in 5 or 6 years by putting that into the stock market? And if the answer is yes, then the game was considered a failure. That's kind of how they determine whether or not it's worth spending money on these AAA titles. But I would be completely happy with PS1, PS2 style RPGs from Square. They could do these on a shoestring. They could bang them out, one a year, one every other year. I'd be totally happy with that. And I think a lot of other people would too. But it's encouraging. I'm seeing more companies attempting to course correct. And again, all it took was for the money to run out. Now, all of this nonsense is far from over, for sure, but we are seeing signs that things are going to return, I believe, to normal out of necessity, because we don't have the venture capital propping things up anymore, and consumers are tired. They're not going to keep giving you the money that they were giving you. They're not going to be guilted into buying things they don't want to buy. They'll just go buy old games. They don't need to buy new games anymore. So you're going to have to really give them something to get behind. And a lot of game studios are learning this lesson too late. That's why we're having so many layoffs, in my opinion. I'm gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.